Aloha artists, Miss Maggie here, back for another art project today. Today, we're going to look at a work of art, think about the art, and then create some art inspired by it. We're going to be using our eyes and our mind before we get making, but these are the supplies you are going to want to have on hand. You are going to want a small drawing paper and a large piece of construction paper. It can be any color that you want it to be. You are also going to want a pencil, of course, and an eraser, and you're going to need some scissors and a glue stick, just a little bit of those, and you're going to want some other art supplies too, and it depends on how you do this. I'm going to recommend a Sharpie or even an extra fine tip pen and some colored pencils. But you might choose to use a little bit of paint or markers instead too. I'll show you why later. Okay, what is it that we're going to need? A small drawing paper and a construction paper, pencil, eraser, Sharpie, or even better, a finer tipped black pen, scissors, glue, and color pencils or some other sort of color. Go get those supplies and meet me right back here. Okay, artists, I know that you have some tools for reading a work of art. You might not have used them recently, but I know that you have them. What are the things that you look for when you are reading a work of art? I'm sure you know this. How does it start? Facial expression, focal point, gesture, clothing, setting, objects, quantity, size, and color. I know this is just a video, but make sure you're doing it with me. Let's do it again. Facial expression, focal point, gesture, clothing, setting, objects, quantity, size, and color. Now, one more time. You say it out loud. I bet you know it now. Let's look at this work of art here. It is called Life on Boat by Venkat Shyam. He is from the country of India. Look at this artwork and see what you notice. Now this artwork has some people in it, so look closely at their facial expression and see what is their focal point. Where are the people looking? How about their gesture? What position is their body in? How about their clothing? See what you notice about that. Setting doesn't really work well for this piece, but what about the objects? Look at the objects and notice their quantity, size, and color. Here are some close-ups of this artwork. This artwork gets more interesting the closer you look at it. As you look at it, I'm curious, what do you think is going on? What is this artwork about? Any ideas? I don't think there's any wrong answers, so what do you think it is? I'm also curious, what do you wonder about this artwork? So, after looking at this artwork, I'm curious what you think is going on. Or another way of putting that is, what is this artwork about? Let's try to put one of those thoughts into a sentence like this. When I see blank, I think blank. I want to hear what you see and think about this artwork. And so, this is what I'm going to ask you to do. Go to Padlet. I put it right into the blog right below this picture, and you will see a picture of this artwork. And then right below it, comment, when I see blank, I think blank. Fill in those blanks with what you see and think. Okay, now we are going to make our art. What we're going to do today is you are going to get to zoom in to the parts of that artwork that you think are the most interesting, and we are going to look closely at the lines and shapes and draw those details up close. We're going to do 3 mini drawings, and so let's get your small drawing paper and we are going to cut it into 3. Watch how I make 3 even parts. So I have my paper here and I'm going to fold it into thirds. If I fold up like that, that's in halves. We don't want halves, we want it in thirds, 3 pieces. So instead, I'm going to fold it up and not crease anything, but I'm going to look. Is this part and this part the same? I'm going to look closely, and this bottom part looks like it's a little bit larger. Now that looks a little bit more even. I'm measuring with my fingers. I think it's just about the same. I'm going to bring it down a little bit more. I think that's just about there. When I think I've got it, then I check, are my corners straight? And I fold. Then I fold the other part down. I get to find out, how close was I? I was a little bit off, but for a little bit off for this, it'll be all right. So I have 1, 2, 3 parts. I'm going to cut on those lines, and then I'll have my 3 mini pieces of paper. And so, get your small drawing paper. The first thing we're going to do is to cut it into thirds. One way to do this is by folding, but if you fold it in half, then it's in half. We need thirds. And so, how do we do that? We need 3 parts. I'm going to fold the bottom part up until this part and this part look the same. I'm going to make sure the corners are the same, but if this part and this part look like they're the same size, I think it's a little big, I'm going to go down like that, and the corners are even, then I can fold. And then this part, I'm going to fold down. I'm going to see how well I did. Folding it down without messing up that part there. And I wasn't perfect, but for this artwork, that's fine. And so I have 1, 2, 3 parts there. I am going to cut on those folds. You do that with yours. Carefully on those lines. Okay, I have 3 pieces of paper here. What I am going to do is I'm going to set 2 aside, and I have 1 here, and I'm going to go up, and I am going to zoom into that artwork, and I'm going to find a detail that I find extra interesting. And I can zoom in a lot, so maybe I can't even tell exactly what it is, but find a part that looks neat to you. That part there is what I am going to draw onto here. How do I do that? Well, I am going to look for the lines and the shapes and where they go. For instance, I see that the elephant head creates this blue mountain shape, and that starts on the screen down on the bottom, close to the edge, but not right on the edge. And so I'm going to practice that. I'm going to go, okay, it curves up and over and up, and it goes almost to the top, but not quite. It's going to have 2 bumps up at the top, and then it's going to end up over here on the edge a little bit lower. So I can do that lightly now. Up, down, curve down, and then like that. I think that works. And then I see down here on the bottom are some of the eyeball shapes. And so that eye is at an angle, and it's about right here. So I've got that almond shape, and I can tell that that almond shape is going right off the edge. So I'm noticing, where is that edge? And I can see that there's the bigger shape there that goes up and below, and then it's got the circle inside. So I can see where those shapes are in relation to the others. Now, what about this other creature I have there? I see, yeah, it's a butterfly, but let's look for the specific shapes that we see. I see that the wing, it goes off the end down here, 2 spots down there. And I see that the wing, it has a diagonal going this way, and the farthest part over is about halfway through the top and the bottom, and then it comes back and it has a big curve, but it doesn't touch the end there. It has a point, and then it curves, and it ends up down by that mark. It wasn't perfect, but I think that one does it. What are the other shapes that I see?
I know this takes practice, but all we are doing is looking at where lines and shapes connect compared to the other shapes or the edge of the paper. What do you notice about the lines and shapes for the part you are drawing?
What about these beautiful patterns like this? Circle, rainbow, 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 circle, rainbow, 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 rainbow. Do I want to do those with pencil, or do I want to do them with another art supply? I'm not sure. I think I'm going to do my other 2 pieces and then decide how I'm going to do all my coloring. Wow. Okay, the next one I do is going to have those 2 characters. I'm looking at where do those lines start. I'm going to do the sort of monkey person. I'm not sure if it's a monkey or a person. And I see back starts down here on the bottom, about in the middle, curves over, and the arm starts down here too, curves up, and I have a little bump there. Got this here, and I've got the head. It's going to take a little work to get the head just how I want it. But I see that it's very much like a circle, and then it's got a little nose coming out and a smile there. And it's got an eyeball, and the eyeball is kind of high up like that. I'm noticing where that goes.
Again, I'm looking at where those main lines connect to each other and the edge of the paper. If I can get the big lines in, then the smaller details, it's easier to find where they go. And after I've got the small details, then I can get the textures and the patterns that go in. I'm doing the same thing for this fish one. Where do those lines go? How do I connect them? How can I adjust them so that it all works out?
Now, I have those 3, and I can decide, well, how do I like them to be? I can arrange them however I want, but right now, I am going to think about color. So there are 2 ways that you can color your drawings. First of all, you can look closely at the colors and the textures that are in this picture and see if you can create them with your own art supplies. That's what I'm going to do. But you also might have some ideas that are inspired by it, but a little bit different. So watch how I do it. But if you go in your own direction with the coloring, as long as we can still tell what artwork you were inspired by, I think it's going to be awesome.
So I am starting with an extra fine tip Sharpie. If you have a regular Sharpie, that'll work too. But this finer tip will really get those patterns and those details. And this pattern, it's fun to do once I get the hang of it. It fills in pretty quickly, and a bit of erasing before I go on to the next one. More careful outlining to bring out those details. Yes, that's looking great. And then onto that pattern, circle, rainbow, 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 circle, rainbow, 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 rainbow. Careful around those little details though. That's what I'm doing to fill this in but not lose any of my other work. Bit of eraser and on to this one. I'm on a roll with that pattern, so I'm doing it first and then that careful outline. This one has a lot of other textures though. I'm thinking, well, how do I really do that other texture? I'm doing lots of little strokes that make it look like fur. And filling that in, this feels like a lot of work, but it looks so good. And some parts in the picture are harder and some parts are softer. So I'm doing my best to look at the picture and catch what it has, but it was also tiring. So for this last part, I'm trying to do that same texture, but with a different way. I'm using pencil, and I like how it works. And I'll throw a little pen in the pencil, and so it all blends together. And that elephant ear, well, it looks like paint in the picture, so I just had to throw a little paint in there, but it's got to dry. So now I'm going in with the blue color pencil and the other colors, and a little bit of marker for those red dots really helped make those stand out. The color pencil, remember, outline, direction, hard or soft, and then blend. But this one, there's not really any blending in it. So I don't have to do that. I just have to be careful with my coloring. See, I'm going around the butterfly there and putting in those dots. Wow!
Here are my 3 finished drawings. The last thing I need is my construction paper and my glue. I am going to decide how I want to exhibit these. Do I want them vertical? Do I want them horizontal somehow? Do I want to overlap them or turn one of them? What do I want to do with these? How am I going to create a new work of art out of these pieces of the original work of art? That's kind of interesting like that, but I do think I like it best like this. That is what I like. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I have these where I want them. I will take one and take my glue stick and cover the back with glue stick. If you're using white glue, just 4 little dots, teeny little dots that won't smear out. Glue sticks, you want lots. And then I'm going to hover and check, where do I want it? Where do I want it? Double check, put it down. I'm not going to press it down yet. Let's glue all 3 before we do the final press. Glue in the corners, glue all around, line it up, hover, put it down, and then the last one. And that one just sort of fell down. Let me see. I want it to be even across the bottom, and I want it to be the same amount here as here. And so that is why I stopped before I pressed everything down. Okay, I like where that one is. Now make this one even on top of it. Even here, even here, even there. And then this one. Even here, even here. Even there, even top and bottom. It is even on the top and bottom, but that needs to come a little closer. And there we go. The very last thing to do here is to title your artwork underneath it. come up with a new name. I am going to title mine Menagerie, which is like another name for zoo. It's a grouping of animals. And I like the sound of it. And so I'm going to write that in pencil first because it seems like a hard one to spell. I bet it's French originally. Right in the center underneath, Menagerie. I think that's right. I checked and it's right. Okay, I'm going to Sharpie that. And the bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to put my name. Miss Maggie Sutrove. That is where artists sign their name. Okay, a little bit of pencil to erase there. And so here is my final piece. I can't wait to see yours. So let's post it with your reflection question right here on Padlet. Here is that reflection question. When people see blank in my artwork, I hope they wonder blank. Of course, you're going to fill in those blanks with your own ideas. I think mine would be, when people see the blue pattern in all three of the squares, I hope they wonder if these animals are all in the same setting or somehow on an adventure together. I can't wait to hear what yours is. Okay, remember to turn in a photo of your artwork to your teacher, and all those art supplies you used, put them away, keep them safe for next time, and clean up your space. Put up your artwork somewhere where your family members can enjoy it, and we'll make more art again together soon. Okay, ahui ho! Can you do it faster? Can you do it faster? Facial expression, focal point, gesture, clothing, setting, objects, quantity.